Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be making a lovely elastic waist dress. I'll be using this fabric for it. This is 4 meters by 60. This is for upper part of the dress. I folded it with her biggest measurement, which is her bust measurement. Her bust measurement is 46. 46 divided by 4 is 11.5. The fabric is folded into 4. The front is folded into 2 and the back is folded into 2 also. This is starting line. Because this is off shoulders dress, I'll take off some inches from the upper part of the dress. You can minus 4 inches, 5 inches or 6 inches, but I'll minus 5 inches. This is 1 inch seam allowance to make casing for elastic. So because I want to minus 5 inches, I'll put 5 inches on this starting line. 5 inches. From shoulder to her half length is 17 inches. This is 17 inches. And this is 0.75 seam allowance to join it to the lower part. 5 inches on this line. Half of her round armhole is 9 inches. Here I'll mark 9 inches. I'll put her bust measurement on this line, chest line. Her bust measurement is 46. 46 divided by 4 is 11 and a half. 11 and a half. If you want, you can add half inch for ease or 0.25 for ease. But I'll just use 11.5. This is 11.5 plus 1 inch for seam allowance, 12.5. This is 12.5. If you want, you can add ease allowance, 0.25 or half inch. 12.5. I'll mark 12.5 on this side. This is her waistline. Her waist measurement is 38. 38 divided by 4 is 9.5. 9.5 plus 1 inch for ease and 1 inch seam allowance, 11.5. 11.5. I'll connect it. On this starting line, I'll mark half of her shoulder measurement. Her shoulder measurement is 16. 16 divided by 2 is 8 plus half inch seam allowance, 8 and a half. This is 8 and a half. From this 8 and a half, if you want, you can curve it to this line for armhole. Or from this measurement is the same measurement that I have here. So from this measurement, you'll come in by 4 inches. So from this measurement, this point, I'll come in by 4 inches. So from this 4 inches, I'll curve it to this line. I'm going to cut it. So now I'll keep it aside. I don't want to separate it because I'll use it to trim the sleeve. I'll put the sleeve under and use it to trim the armhole. I'll keep it aside. This is for sleeve. Her sleeve length is 12 inches, but I have 16 inches here. 1 inch to make casing for elastic and another 1 inch to make casing for elastic on this lower part. So I have 14 inches. I added extra 2 inches to the length of the sleeve because she will pull it. This is for 2 sleeves. It's folded into 2 and the second one is folded into 2 also. I have 12 inches. Half of around armhole is 9 plus 1 inch seam allowance 10. Then I added extra 2 inches to it. If you want, you can just use half of your round armhole plus seam allowance, or 1 inch for ease, depending on what you want, but I added 2 inches for ease. I will use the upper part of the dress to trim the armhole. I'll use it to trim it. Okay, this is for the upper part, and this is for the sleeve. This is for the sleeve. This is for the second sleeve. This is for the upper part of the dress. I'm going to cut the lower part of the dress. To cut the lower part of the dress, you will minus the upper part of the dress from the full length of the dress. The full length of the dress is 58 inches. The upper part of the dress is 17 inches. From her shoulder to her waistline is 17 inches. 17 minus 58 is 41 inches. But I need seam allowance to hem it. I will use half inch to hem it. 41 plus half inch is 41 and a half. But if you want, you can use 1 inch to hem it so that you can double fold it. But I will use overlock, and that's why I want to use half inch to hem it. I'm going to use half circle for the lower part of the dress. Because it's circle dress, I'll get the waist radius. To get the waist radius, I'll work with the waist measurement. So this is one part of the upper part. Her waist measurement is 38. Her waist measurement is 38. 38 divided by 4 is 9.5 plus 1 inch for ease and 1 inch seam allowance, 11.5. So 11.5 times 4 is 46. Or you open it like this. This is for one part, maybe front or back. I have 23 inches. 23 inches for the front and 23 inches for the back. 23 plus 23 is 46 inches. The waist measurement is 46 inches together with the seam allowance. I have 1 inch seam allowance on this side and also 1 inch seam allowance on this side. The same on this one also. So I'm going to use half circle. I'll cut out half circle, then I'll divide it into 2 because I want to add pocket to it. I already have seam allowance to join it back. The waist measurement is 46 inches together with the seam allowance. Because I'm going to cut half circle, I will divide 46 inches by 3.14. 3.14 is formula for half circle. 46 divided by 3.14 is 14.75. The waist radius is 14.75. I'm going to cut half circle for the lower part of the dress. I'll show you how to do it on the piece of paper because my camera cannot get it properly. I will do it on the floor. I will not even do it on the table. To cut out the lower part, you will add the waist radius and the length of the lower part. The waist radius is 14.75. The length of the lower part is 41 inches plus half inch seam allowance to hem it, 41.5. But if you don't have overlocker, you will use 1 inch to hem it. 41.5 plus 14.75 is 56.25. So the length that I will measure will be 56.25. So I will show you how to do it on piece of paper because my camera will not cover it properly. I will also do it on the floor. So I folded the fabric into 2. So I'll fold the paper into 2. I will make sure that I have 52.25 on this side and 52.25 on this side. Also on this side, but I have enough on this side because the fabric is by 60. So I have enough. So here, this is the folded side. On the fabric, I'll mark 14.75, 14.75, 14.75. I'll connect it. So from this waist radius, 14.75 waist radius on the fabric, I will now measure the length of the lower part, which is 41.5. So because I can't get 41.5 on this paper, I'll just use 4.5 as a 41.5. So this is 41.5. So from upper part here, I will shake what I have. If I shake it, I will have 56.25. But what I have here, because of piece of paper, I have 5.5. So I will measure 5.5. So on the fabric, I will measure 56.25. So this is the waist radius. So this is the waist radius. From waist radius, I'll add seam allowance to join it to the upper part. I'll come up by 0.75. 0.75. This is seam allowance to join it to the upper part. 0.75. And this is waist radius. I will cut it on this line and also on this line, this seam allowance line. This is the waist radius, this is the waistline. I added 0.75 for seam allowance, so I'll cut it on this seam allowance line. So because I want to add pocket to it, I'll cut it into 2 on this folded part. I'll cut it on this line. I already have seam allowance, 1 inch seam allowance to join it back. So I'll cut it this way. Cut it. So from the waistline, original waistline, not the seam allowance, I'll come down by 2 inches. I will notch it for pocket. The pocket will start there. I will do the same on this side. So this is for the front and this is for the back. This is for the back and this is for the front. It's just half circle. You cut out half circle and divide it into 2. I already have seam allowance to stitch it back because I added seam allowance on the upper part of the dress. On the waistline, I added seam allowance, 1 inch seam allowance to stitch it back. This is for the lower part. This is the second one because I cut it into 2. You can use full circle for it. You can use a line. You can use half circle. So what I'll do next is to stitch the pocket to the lower part. I'll put it this way. This is the right side. I have 4 pockets here. This is the right side of the fabric. This is the notch for the pocket. I'll put it this way, right side together. I'll stitch it on the edge, 0.25. After that, I'll turn it to this side and top stitch on the pocket side. right side together. I will stitch it. I will turn it to this side and top stitch on the pocket side. I will do the same on this. This is the sleeve. This is the right side. I'll fold it this way. I'll stitch it using 1 inch seam allowance. I'll do the same on the second sleeve. This is for upper part of the dress. I want to stitch the front and the back together. Right side together. I will stitch it using 1 inch seam allowance. I've stitched the pocket to the lower part of the dress. I did the same on this. What I'll do next is to stitch the two together, the front and the back together. I'll put it this way, right side together. I will stitch it using 1 inch seam allowance. 1 inch to this point, half inch, 1 inch to the end. I will do the same on this side. This is the sleeve. I've stitched it. I did the same on this, the second sleeve. I also made casing for elastic. I folded 1/4 inch in 0.25 and 0.75. I stitched it round, but I left space to pass elastic, like 1 inch or 1.5 inches to pass elastic. I did the same on this. This is the upper part of the dress. I've stitched the two sides. What I'll do next is to stitch the sleeve to the upper part of the dress. I will turn it to the right side. This is the right side. This is the right side of the upper part. I'll turn the sleeve to the right side also. This is the right side of the sleeve. This is the side seam. I'll pin it to the side seam on the upper part of the dress. I'll pin it this way, right side together, right side. I'll pin this part. I'll pin this side. I'll also do the same on this side. I will stitch it using 1/2 inch seam allowance. I will do the same on this side. I've stitched the sleeve to the upper part of the dress. I did the same on this side. This is the lower part, the wrong side. This is the upper part, the right side. I'll put the upper part inside the lower part. This is the waistline. This is the waistline. I'll put it this way. Side seam to side seam. So now it's right side together. I will stitch it using 0.75 seam allowance. I've stitched the upper and lower part together at the waistline using 0.75 seam allowance. After that, I overlocked the waistline. What I'll do next is to stitch elastic to the waistline. This is bigger than her waist measurement. I'll use elastic to bring it back to her waist measurement. Cut out elastic for the waist. I used her waist measurement minus 4 to 5 inches. To cut out elastic for the shoulder, I use her round shoulder measurement minus 4 or 5 inches. To cut out elastic for the sleeve, I use her round sleeve measurement minus 2 inches. Or you can put elastic on your round shoulder, not too tight, not too loose, to cut it out. On your waist measurement, on your waist, not too tight, not too loose, to cut it out. You will do the same for the sleeve, but some elastic stretch more and some stretch less. So what I'll do next is to stitch the elastic. I have the elastic here. I cut it out. I've stitched it together. I cut it out. I put it this way and stitch it together. So I'll stitch this elastic on the waistline. So what I'll do, I'll hold it this way and mark it. This side, I'll mark this side also. So now I'll pin it. I'll pin it to this side. On this side also, center front. This is center front. I'll pin it on the center front and also on the center back. Center front, center back. To stitch the elastic, I'll pull the elastic this way and stitch on it, on the seam allowance. I've stitched the elastic to the waistline. If you like, you can leave it like this, or you can use the seam to cover the elastic. To do that, I'll bring the upper part out. So this is the upper part, this is the lower part. If you want, you can leave it this way, it's fine. Or if you want, you can use this seam to cover it. So to cover it, you can't stitch it on it this way because you will stitch the front and the back together. You will open it. This is the inside. You open it, put it this way, stretch it, stitch on the edge. So you stitch it round. After that, I'll make casing for elastic. This is the upper part of the dress. I'll fold 1/4 inch in, 0.25. I'll fold again 0.75. I'll leave like 1 to 2 inches space so that I can pass elastic. I used the seam to cover the elastic. I also made casing for elastic. I passed the elastic through this space, this opening. I'll close it. To pass the elastic, you will use pin. This is one of the sleeves. This is the opening. I'll remove the pin. I'll put it this way. and stitch it, or you can just stitch it this way. After that, you pull it. I've stitched the elastic. After that, I pulled it. So what I'll do next is to close this part to stitch it. So after that, I'll overlock the dress and hem the lower part. So this is the dress, is ready. You can wear it with belt, you can wear it without belt. You can make belt with the fabric, you can wear it with any type of belt. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.